Australia, a land of stunning landscapes, unique wildlife, and one of the most bizarre military operations in history. In 1932, Australia waged war, but not against a human enemy. This was the Great Emu War. After World War I, Australian soldiers returned home and were given land by the Australian government. The government had encouraged these veterans to take up farming in Western Australia. However, the onset of the Great Depression in 1929 made this a challenging task. Wheat prices plummeted, and farmers struggled to make ends meet. But their biggest challenge was yet to come. After their breeding season, emus regularly headed towards the coast from inland Australia, seeking food and water. On this occasion, a whopping 20,000 of these large, flightless birds advanced upon the coastal regions of Western Australia. The emus hit the jackpot, finding the wheat fields to be a particularly bountiful source of sustenance. The farmers, however, were far from pleased. Desperate to protect their crops, the farmers turned to the government for help. The soldier settlers were well aware of the effectiveness of machine guns, and the deployment of such was requested. The government readily agreed, with conditions that only military personnel would be able to carry out the deed. The Great Emu War was affirmed. The military's duty would commence in October 1932. Led by Major G.P.W. Meredith of the Royal Australian Artillery, the soldiers were confident. After all, how hard could it be to deal with a bunch of birds? On November 2, 1932, after an initial delay due to rainfall, the first engagement took place. The soldiers spotted a group of 50 emus, but they were just out of range. The local settlers attempted to herd them into an ambush, but these birds were clever. They split. The troops opened fire, but the emus' actions made it almost impossible for their pursuers to slay them. The military opened fire for a second time, killing a number of the flightless birds. A further dozen were slain later that day. Over the next few days, multiple attempts were made. Another significant event on the November 4th saw Meredith establishing an ambush where more than 1,000 emus were spotted. The emus were in close proximity, gun at the ready, shots echoed, but then silence. The gun jammed after only 12 birds were killed. The rest of the birds made a dash for it. The birds evaded death yet another day. Over the next few days, multiple attempts were made, but the emus, with their surprising speed and agility, outmaneuvered the soldiers time and time again. Meredith even attempted to mount a machine gun on the back of a truck while moving at high speeds, but the swift movements of the birds and condition of the ground made it impossible for them to fire any shots. By November 8th, it was clear the mission was a failure. Despite 2,500 rounds of ammunition being fired, only an estimated 50 birds had been killed. The local media had a field day, with a negative coverage of events being reported. The operation was called off. The emus had won. The emus continued to roam the outback, and the farmers had to find other ways to protect their crops. The government later implemented a bounty system and helped fund the construction of emu-proof fences. Today, the Great Emu War is remembered as a humorous yet poignant example of human struggle against nature. It's a testament to the resilience of both the emus and the Australian farmers. A quirky chapter in history that will never be forgotten. Thanks for joining us on this journey through history. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon for more historical insights. Let us know in the comments which historical event you'd like us to cover next. Until next time, keep exploring the past to understand the present.